All her life, Clara had dreamed of money, understanding from a very young age that without it, you were nothing in this world. She'd known it from the moment she ended up in the group home, crying at the feet of an aunt who said they didn't have the money to raise another child when they already had 6 of their own to feed. Clara remembered promising her aunt she would eat little and work hard, just so she would take her. But her aunt just kept sighing, saying her mother was a lost cause who had a child with God knows who. And now what? Nothing to be done. And so she left, sighing and moaning, and never came back. Before we continue, I'd like to ask you to like this video. Your support is very important to me. Enjoy the story. The caregivers would whisper among themselves that there was nothing to be gained from Clara. And even then, she knew that if there had been something to gain, she would have been living with her aunt's family. Clara tried. She read books, she studied even when she wasn't in school, which earned her a lot of ridicule from both the caregivers and the other kids. They all told her the same thing. Don't try to jump over your own head. No one who comes out of a group home becomes like everyone else, and you won't either. Clara would clench her teeth to keep from crying and would read, study, over and over again. She left or was released. As the kids from the home joked, full of anticipation for a miracle. She would be given housing, she would go to college, and everything would be fine. But the housing she was given was not what she had imagined. It was barely habitable. As for college, after visiting all the educational institutions, Clara realized that apart from a vocational school to become a seamstress or something similar, nothing awaited her. She thought for a long time, then decided. She would take a year off, find a well-paying job, save up, and then apply, carefully hiding the fact that she was from a group home. But here too, things didn't go as planned. All the well-paying jobs were already taken by people with degrees. While Clara was running around, the deadline for applying to the vocational school passed. She realized she was in a vicious cycle, exactly what they had told her about in the group home. After crying for a few days, she calmed down. No one was forcing her to steal to become what they expected of her. So she would just find some kind of job and then she would see. With great difficulty, she managed to get a job as a dishwasher in a restaurant. The pay was, of course, nothing to write home about, but she was grateful for it. She had no money left at all, and at least in the restaurant she could eat. Clara, what the hell are you doing standing in the middle of the aisle? I can't get through. The girl didn't just flinch, she jumped. She had stepped out for a breath of fresh air, while there was a lull in the work, and had frozen in the doorway for just a minute. And this manager, here he was. Clara quickly stepped aside. I'm sorry, Mr. Miller, I was just thinking. The man laughed. Thinking? About what? Do dishwashers even have anything to think about? Clara gritted her teeth, just so she wouldn't respond with rudeness. Mr. Miller, a young, constantly sweating man, had taken a dislike to her from the very first moment he saw her. And she wouldn't have gotten the job in a million years because he had refused her, and with great pleasure if not for Mrs. Gable, who had been working as a dishwasher here for a long time and, in terms of importance, was probably on the next rung below the owner. She had overheard Mr. Miller's words and, despite her considerable weight, was immediately by his side. What are you doing here, Arthur? I heard you were turning away applicants. Mr. Miller immediately started sweating but tried to maintain his authority. Go on about your business, Mrs. Gable. My business, you say? Have you forgotten how many days I've worked without a day off? That it's only thanks to me that the owner hasn't kicked your butt yet? You remember, if you don't hire this girl right now, I'm on my scheduled days off starting tomorrow, and you'll be washing the dishes on my day off. Arthur wiped the sweat from his brow with a handkerchief. He wanted to say something, but the woman raised a finger, making it clear that she wasn't finished. And believe me, I will call Mr. Russo right now and tell him everything. As Clara understood, Mr. Russo was the owner of the restaurant, and Mrs. Gable was indeed closer to him than the manager. Fine, you're hired on a probationary period. But God forbid even one spoon goes missing. I know you types from the foster system. So that Mrs. Gable wouldn't say anything else, Arthur quickly disappeared behind a door, putting on a very serious and busy face. Don't be afraid of him. He just pretends to be a big shot around here. Come on, I'll show you everything, and I'll finally get a break from work. Mrs. Gable turned out to be very talkative and kind. In 5 minutes, she had gotten Clara's whole life story out of her. She clicked her tongue. An orphan, then? It's very hard for orphans these days if there's no support from anywhere, and if your teeth aren't sharp. But don't worry, you'll get used to it. You'll get the hang of it. Clara had been working for 2 weeks now. She hadn't seen Mrs. Gable again because they were on different shifts. The staff treated her neutrally. They didn't bully her, but they didn't get too close either. But for Clara, that was for the best. She had had enough of pity and advice in her life, and everything would have been fine if not for this Arthur Miller. Apparently, he couldn't forgive the fact that Clara had seen and heard how an ordinary dishwasher treated him. On this day, Arthur had the day off and everyone was behaving a little more friendly. They even invited her for tea when the dining room was still empty. A waitress named Sophie asked, "So, how are you managing?" Clara smiled. "It's not that hard. Washing dishes doesn't take much brain power." "Don't say that. We once had a girl. I think she washed the dishes without any water at all, on the principle of it'll do. And don't pay any attention to our Arthur. He'll keep picking on you until a more interesting victim appears. I'll try. Just try not to cross his path. You know where he sits in his office." "Thanks." A guy came in from the street. "Hey, the bearded homeless guy is here. Do we have anything?" "Yeah, just a second." Sophie stood up and put something in a paper plate, but then a whole crowd of people came into the hall. "Oh, I have to run. Clara, can you take this out? His name is Uncle Joe. He's a good guy, harmless, knows a lot of poems, and we feed him sometimes." Clara took the plate. "Of course, go ahead." Her mood was wonderful. For the first time, they were treating her as an equal. She went outside and immediately saw the homeless man they were talking about. Clara smiled and handed him the plate. "Here you go, they asked me to give this to you." He beamed. "Oh, thank you. Such kind, good people work here." He quickly limped away and Clara, still smiling, turned around. And in front of her stood Arthur. A crooked smirk, his arms crossed over his chest. Clara was speechless. And as it turned out, for good reason. "I don't understand. Are you just giving away other people's food here? Or maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe you're the boss here now." Clara looked at him and thought that it would be wrong to rat out Sophie. So she just answered quietly, "But this is from yesterday. It was going to be thrown out, and a person gets to eat. A person gets to eat and you'll pay for it. For now, I'll deduct 1 lunch from your pay. But if I see you feeding some bum with restaurant food just one more time, you won't see your first paycheck, you can be sure of that." "Got it." Clara saw the pleasure Arthur was taking in reprimanding her like a schoolgirl. She remained silent. With people like him, it's better not to argue. About an hour later, Sophie came to see her. "Did you get it from Arthur? No one was expecting him today. He doesn't even talk to us. Why did he come? It's his day off. Hey, listen. There are some bad rumors going around. We're all in shock. They say our owner is planning to go somewhere and is going to sell the restaurant. And what, they'll close it? Unlikely. The location is good, profitable. But a new broom sweeps clean. They could fire all of us." "You're right about that. People in this business usually have their own team. Well, we'll see. Arthur will be on a rampage now to get the new management to notice him. I wonder if there will be a bonus this month. It's in 2 days." Clara gasped. "Oh no. I never even set up a bank card to get my salary." Sophie looked at her in surprise. "You're kidding me. Are you so rich you don't need money?" Clara laughed. "I don't have any, so I'm not worried. Let the people with a lot of money worry. I'll run to the bank in the morning." "You'd better. Otherwise, Arthur will easily leave you without a salary." Clara got up early and went to the bank to open an account for her salary. She had never been to such an establishment before, and was a little lost when she walked in. A young man in a strict suit immediately approached her. "Can I help you with something?" "Yes. I want to open an account to receive my salary. Come this way. I'll take you to the right window. She was seated at a desk. The young man sat across from her. May I have your documents? Have you had an account with us before? Oh no, of course not. Clara smiled shyly. The young man said, There's a first time for everything. He looked up at her. You know, you have such a sincere, wonderful smile, just a little sad. I've never seen a smile that was so sad. Clara blushed. No one had ever given her a compliment like that before. Wait. I don't understand something. Let me double-check everything. Clara tensed. What could be wrong if this was her first time in a bank in her life? The young man clicked the keys for a long time, and then looked at her with interest. I take it you're not aware? Clara asked, frightened. What are you talking about? You already have an account. How? That's just not possible. I've only been out of the group home for a year, and no one could have opened it for me either. I don't have any relatives, well, at least not like that. The young man smiled and stood up. Come with me. Something has been left for you in a safe deposit box. Clara sat, holding the letter, and stared straight ahead. She had no idea that her good-for-nothing mother, as everyone had always called her, had become that way after being abandoned by a rich young man whom her mother had loved very much. The young man's father, a very influential and wealthy man at the time, had forced him to leave her. This brought no one any happiness. The fiancé died in a car crash, and Clara's mother died in a drunken stupor. This man, her grandfather, had always known she existed and could not come to terms with it. And only when a fatal illness confined him to his bed did he realize how many lives he had broken. He asked for Clara's forgiveness, for his son's forgiveness, and for Clara's mother's forgiveness. Are you all right? She slowly looked up at the young man, struggling to focus on his name tag. No, Leo, I'm fine. Thank you. There was so much money in the account that Clara had never even said such numbers out loud. She was confused, but it turned out her dream had come true. And now, right here in this bank, she had another one. Leo, have you ever wanted to change professions and manage a restaurant? He laughed. Are you reading my mind? I've been playing restaurant since I was a child, but it just so happened that I work in a field very far from it. Arthur met her at the very entrance of the hall. Oh, look who's here. Didn't anyone tell you that you can't be late for work? Clara silently walked to a table and sat down. The waiters looked at her in surprise. How could a person change so much in 2 days? Both her clothes and even her demeanor. Clara, get up when I'm talking to you. She smiled. You know, Arthur, do you know why I bought this restaurant? For one reason only. To have the pleasure of firing you. You're fired. Fired right now. Arthur almost choked. He had just taken a breath to scream at her when the owner walked into the hall. Everything is very good here. Have you heard? I think I'm leaving and I've sold the restaurant. So I want to introduce you to the new owner. Now all questions go to her. I hope she'll be happy with the old guard. As Clara had thought, Leo turned out to be an excellent manager. He not only managed the restaurant while she was studying, but also helped her with her gaps in knowledge. It wasn't difficult for him to do this, because every evening they met in their shared apartment, where they planned to live happily ever after. If you enjoyed the story, I hope you won't mind supporting me with a thumbs up. Don't forget about the comments. Your support and your opinion are very important to me. Thank you. Stay with us, there are many more interesting stories ahead.